Today, we're delving into the complex realm of international relations by scrutinizing the Thucydides Trap. This theory, increasingly prominent in global politics discourse, posits that conflict is often inevitable when a rising power challenges an established one. As we explore this subject, we will not only investigate its historical and contemporary applications, such as in the Ukrainian conflict, but also critically evaluate its validity and the criticisms it encounter. Thucydides, an ancient Greek historian, asserted that the Peloponnesian War was primarily driven by Athens' ascension and the consequent fear this instilled in Sparta. The Thucydides Trap, as conceptualized by modern scholars, extends this notion to suggest that major conflicts often stem from the struggle between an ascending power and an existing hegemon. Allison, a renowned political scientist, reignited interest in this concept through his analysis of historical power transitions. His work sparked renewed debate regarding conflict patterns in global power dynamics. In his influential book, Destined for War, Can America and China Escape the Thucydides Trap?, Allison offers a thorough re-examination of historical conflicts through the Thucydides Trap perspective. Allison meticulously explores 16 major historical instances over 5 centuries, where a rising power confronted a ruling one, drawing pertinent parallels to the current dynamics between the United States and China. His examination encompasses the strategies utilized by these powers, the psychological elements of perceived threats, and the diplomatic maneuvers leading to either war or peace. Central to Allison's thesis is the argument that ignoring historical lessons could lead to recurring conflict patterns. His work is thus crucial in understanding how historical patterns can influence current international relations and potentially forecast future conflicts. Allison's analysis presents a stark warning: out of the 16 cases studied, 12 resulted in war, indicating a significant likelihood of conflict when a new power rises to challenge the status quo. Applying the Thucydides Trap to the Ukrainian war offers a perspective on Russia's aggressive stance towards NATO expansion and Ukraine's westward leanings. This situation mirrors the classic scenario of a ruling power, Russia, feeling threatened by the rise of a neighboring entity, Ukraine aligning with Western powers. The precursors to the conflict, such as Ukraine's ambitions to join the European Union and NATO, signify a shift in regional power balance perceived by Russia as a direct threat to its sphere of influence, especially following its diminished influence in Eastern Europe post-Cold War. However, this theory oversimplifies the complexities of the Ukrainian conflict. The war involves more than a binary struggle for power, deeply entrenched in historical, cultural, and geopolitical intricacies. These include the long-standing cultural and historical connections between Ukraine and Russia, Ukraine's pursuit of national sovereignty and identity, and the strategic significance of the region for both Western powers and Russia. Hence, while the Thucydides Trap provides a framework to comprehend certain aspects of the conflict, it fails to encapsulate its multidimensional nature, which is vital for a comprehensive understanding of the situation. The Thucydides Trap, albeit influential, has faced substantial criticism from various scholars in international relations. A key point of dispute is the methodology in identifying historical cases that purportedly fit the framework. Critics argue that the theory oversimplifies complex international conflicts by mainly attributing them to the dynamic between a rising and a ruling power. For example, the application of the Thucydides Trap to World War I has been questioned, with critics highlighting that the war's causes were more complex, involving a complicated web of alliances and diverse national interests, rather than just a straightforward power transition. Further criticism arises from the interpretation of specific historical events. In cases like the Russo-Japanese War, it's argued that it was not a clear example of a ruling power being challenged by a rising one, as the Thucydides Trap would suggest. Instead, these conflicts had different motivations and dynamics, often involving factors like economic interests, national pride, and geopolitical strategies. Additionally, the interpretation of the original Thucydides text itself is contested. Some scholars argue that the narrative of inevitable conflict, due to power shifts, oversimplifies Thucydides' own nuanced observations about the causes of the Peloponnesian War, which included a range of political, economic, and cultural factors. In conclusion, while the Thucydides Trap provides a compelling narrative to understand certain aspects of international relations, these criticisms underscore the need for a more nuanced and multifaceted approach to analyzing global conflicts. It's essential to consider a broader array of factors, including economic conditions, political alliances, cultural ties, and historical contexts, rather than relying solely on the binary dynamic of rising versus ruling powers.